We are a team. As storytellers and dreamers,
there is always magic to discover.
Once upon a time,
a Las Vegas showgirl
and a comedian magician
figured out that even with different perspectives,
our adventures and experiences together
are really just
one big
caper.
Welcome back to One Big Caper. I am Phelyx, my partner Athena, and we appreciate you joining us again. If this is your first visit, this is an interactive program, meaning we love to hear from you, and you are always welcome to reach us at onebigcaper.com. Right?
Right.
Right. Today we have elected to discuss kind of what is the foundation of this podcast, and for that matter, our relationship with each other, and that is our mutual fondness for adventure.
Yes.
Yes.
But not stereotypical adventure.
Not what you might imagine, no. But all my life I have romanticized stereotypical adventure as well.
Oh, have you?
I have.
Okay, so I'm gonna read the definition of adventure for our listener so that they understand.
Okay, we're going to go with some Webster
Google?
or Google.
This is Google.
Okay.
Adventure, an unusual and exciting, typically hazardous experience or activity.
Yep, that's every day for us.
Pretty much. I
That's every
mean,
day.
okay, so yeah, that's how we look at our life. Right?
It
we
is.
look at every experience we experience, which people will judge their experiences, whether I had a bad day or I had a good day. I mean, not that I usually say today sucked, but because that's old conditioning.
We need to vent sometimes, and that's one of the ways to do it quickly, I suppose.
Yeah.
To throw in a couple of expletives and
Yeah.
drop it.
Did I exploit?
No. I mean, you.
I
yeah.
exploited?
You exploited.
I exploited?
I've seen you come home from work, is what I'm saying.
No, I'm
and
saying,
you
did
have
I?
to-
Yeah, but did I exploit?
No,
Okay.
you have not earned a bleep this episode yet. You're doing much better.
I am. It's hard. It's real. We could talk about that in the next episode.
Sure.
But so go ahead. I didn't realize that you romanticized adventure
I did
your whole life.
pretty much since I was a child, but I can tell you that it comes from a weird place that will not surprise you. And that is that my favorite books to go visit in a library, which I did very much when I was a child, were probably Guinness Book of World Records I had to visit, but a lot of Robert L. Ripley's stuff.
The
So
Ripley's,
from-
believe it or not.
Yes.
I too, but I didn't associate those with adventure or travel.
This is these are characters that I admired from P.T. Barnum was another one,
Yes.
but from the early 20th century, who were notorious for being adventurers, even if they lied about it, which was more often than they didn't.
Right.
Most of it was bogus.
Okay.
yeah.
So you're saying your adventures are real.
My adventures are real, but my adventures come in the same form yours do, in that we are not going on African safaris,
Right.
but a trip to the grocery store can be like an African safari when it comes to us. But
Don't ever go shopping with this guy. It's an uncomfortable experience to go to grocery store with this guy.
we're going to do an episode about that.
I made the mistake of adding a grocery trip, a quick one, to the end of a date once, and it really changed his mood. But okay, that's for another episode. Go ahead.
We'll do an entire episode about that. I think adventure comes in just how you live and how you interact with other people and what discoveries, I think adventure is discovery, and we discover new things. Even in the process of creating this program,
Yeah.
we discover things about each other that we didn't know yet. And we've been together for years. So that's fun. And that's kind of an adventure, right?
Yes.
It could be dangerous.
It could be. It could be. There's pillows and stuff flying sometimes.
Also every day. We have adventure when we go to see Athena's children in plays at school, or
Yes.
the grocer, or when we go for picnics with the
Okay,
family.
yeah.
There,
I mean-
there can be an adventure in anything, really.
I think the key to adventures is curiosity. Period. Like,
Sure.
it doesn't matter if it's a block away. Like staycations, where do those come from?
Where do those come from?
No, where did they come from?
Oh.
Like people
Having
try-
budgets of time and money, I think.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. They're still adventures. All I'm saying is that we have this mindset that every day is an adventure. I mean, this entire podcast, the creation of this podcast is an adventure. It's our own adventure, and we are doing it publicly.
we are doing it publicly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think.
sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's okay. We might be just a little bit all over the place. One of the things that I recognize, and the reason I'm dressed in this particular jacket, is that childhood fondness evolved, I suppose, to a degree that I wanted a safari jacket like these characters that I admired so much, and so I have a contemporary version of a safari jacket that I can wear any old time I please. Yes.
So, as you say that, I'm reminded one of my favorite movies growing up was Indiana Jones.
Yes.
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 Not the first one, the second one.
This goes back to a time when Banana Republic, and the one that I visited, they were kind of scarcely available at Banana Republic, but the one I visited when I was a kid with my family was in Boulder, and this was an era of Banana Republic where they were true to their original design, and they carried safari clothing, and the whole thing was outfitted like a African safari. The whole store was. In fact, the stools in the dressing room, and this is gross,
Yes.
but they were elephant feet, which they couldn't do now. I still have a catalog from the 80s of the Banana Republic clothing, and all of the clothing in here you can see is for safari, and I still love it. I still love the look. It's really, it just reminds me of all those things that I followed when I was a kid.
It's just
A little weird, huh?
a little weird, yeah. Because this guy likes to dress in full formal tuxedos and bow
I do.
ties and things like that. So it's just like it's another facet of you, like my brands of sexy kind of thing.
It is a facet, yes.
Interesting.
I can tell you that our shared understanding, definition of adventure is something that it's just occurring to me. It's something that makes my job really fun. And what I can say is that I'm aware of stage productions like Forever Plaid. I bring up all the time because it ran for so many years, and I was always curious about that cast and how monotonous that must get to live Groundhog Day every day, and with a fourth wall, it's the same. So
Right.
my sense of adventure and my definition of adventure and the fact that I don't have a fourth wall when I perform makes every show different, and so those are
Right.
adventures for me too.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I did Jubilee for 5 years. It was the same show every day.
It was the same show.
However, stuff went wrong. Not every day, and not every show. But something would go wrong, and we'd have to figure out how to fix whatever it was that was going wrong and help the show go on. So, yeah, those are some of... I should probably do, like, some Showgirl story times of those. This is what went wrong, this is how I fixed it, or,
Sure.
you know,
Those are, I think, interesting stories for people who are performers or not.
costume malfunctions. And I was in a show in which there were 5 elevators that went up and down from stage level, and those were 40 when I was in the show, 20, almost 35 years old when I was in the show.
If these are big
So,
platforms
huge.
that carry an entire cast up and down in front of an audience, and then you also
Yeah.
have people descending from the ceiling.
Well, yeah, those, I guess those could be considered elevators too. But, you know, they broke down sometimes.
Sure.
And sometimes we didn't really have contingency plans. I mean, we kind of did. Like, yeah. I mean, I guess that's again, Showgirl Storytime, available on my YouTube channel, Showgirls Life. Yeah. One of these days I'll make a video or a few about those. But
Sure.
yeah.
That's
But those are adventures too. You're right. Like, no show was the same.
it helps keep
impossible.
it helps things to stay fresh. But I guess, yeah, you've answered my question essentially about Forever Plaid, and what must have seemed like monotony in
Yeah.
my imagination. But yes, I suppose things are different. It probably amplifies the backstage antics.
Sometimes the stuff that goes wrong is moved along by some of the performers, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've rescued other performers, I suppose.
Like the on-stage antics really died down when I was in the show, but some of my guests told me about some of the stuff that was spoken on stage, yelled on stage, sung on stage, because there was always lip syncing or singing. And so the audience has no idea. They are so overwhelmed by the 100 people on stage and all the feathers and the levels and the staging that Don Arden did that they have no idea. So Forever Plaid, I've never seen it. I have no idea about it. It's probably a much smaller scale, but
yeah.
you know, it focuses on a main person. The person over here could be like picking his nose. I mean, you wouldn't do that because that's not really funny, but they would do something else to mess with the other characters and try to get them to break character. We did that to each other
I have stories.
all the time. We should do some episodes about that. Yeah, those would be juicy bits. Yeah.
So back to adventure.
Back to adventure. I mean, I guess those are ways, like I said earlier, I think that the difference between most people's day and ours is that we're not seeking adventure, but we're curious. We're curious about what could be different. Or, I mean, I go to a job every day, and every day is different. There are days that are really, really crappy because I am serving people that are really mad and angry and
Sure.
frustrated, and they're in a bad place. But there's days where I'm serving everyone and they're like, we're going to Cancun, we're going to Hawaii, or, you know, whatever. They're going on their own adventure. So I always get to see people right before they're going on an adventure, and I get to see their their energy levels. And traveling is hard on us. But I think that I wanted to do this episode because I just wanted to inspire the listener to try to incorporate more adventure into their life. And that doesn't necessarily mean going to Banana Republic and buying a safari jacket or, you know, rock climbing to work or something like.
Rock climbing to work.
I don't know.
There are adventures in all things.
Thank you. Yes. So it is my hope, and I hope Felix's hope, that this little discussion helps you, inspires you to, you know, look for more adventure. What are some ways that people can perceive more adventure in their lives? Maybe that will help.
In the pursuit of adventure.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've answered that in the question because you used the word perceive, and it really is a matter of perception and an attitude towards the mundane.
Right. Well,
yeah.
yeah, right. Right. So how do you add magic to your mundane? And I think that's what makes it an adventure, right? Or is it just a mindset?
I think it's a mindset.
Okay. Do you have a juicy bit?
Not really.
Okay, I do.
Oh, good.
And it kind of like talks about this.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay.
It's
so
time for Athena's juicy bit.
So this is actually like, in a way, proving what you just said, that you think it's a mindset. I agree. I agree that you don't have to add a magic. You don't have to like.
The magic's there.
The magic is there.
Yeah,
It's just a
you
matter of you acknowledging that it's there. And a good exercise is to watch young children the first time they experience something. Because it's usually like, wow! You know, it's like, blows their mind because they've never experienced things before. And I think that that's how we go into life. And like, we get to live this awesome life. So my juicy bit is I was doing my server job and it was just another day and it was, you know, it was picking up and I was rushing around. I had 2 or 3 tables to talk to still and I was a little behind. So I grabbed a tray with glasses of water for each table that I was going to talk to. And so I stopped at one, dropped some drinks off, the waters, and then I stopped at another, dropped the drink off, and then she needed more help. And I had this tray of waters. And there were only 2. And they were the tall Collins glasses. And so I leaned to hear her more. And I wasn't real close to the table. I was like facing away from her. And she asked a question. I don't know if it was like, what's the soup of the day? Or I don't know how to use the QR code or whatever. But I leaned and all of a sudden the Collins glasses started wobbling on the tray. And I tried to I'm not a juggler or something, whomever would be balancing glasses. And they just fell all over me and all over the floor. And I just stood there like, please help me. And the busser came running over, started mopping up and and I'm just like brushing water off. And I'm like, okay, he's doing that. He's cleaning up after my mess. I go and I talk to the next table. They're very nice, lovely people. They saw it because, of course, they're right there. And I got their orders. I came back to that table of the lady who asked me the question that caused the whole debacle. And she put her hand on the table and she said, "You have had quite an adventure today." And it was like a light switch. And immediately, instead of being frustrated and angry with myself because I'm clumsy, and I just cost myself 5 minutes, which is a lot when people are in a hurry and want to eat. Sure. I was like, everything's going to be okay. And I said, you know what? Thank you for the reminder. And I was just like, oh my God. Thank you. Because I was in that mindset of like, go, 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 work, 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 work. These people need their food right effing now. And that one woman just helped me switch back to like, this is an adventure. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have a good day. This is going to be fun. So that's my juicy bit.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, it was a little long, but I don't know. What else do you have to say about adventure? Are you going to go on a safari someday? I
wouldn't mind that, I guess. But it would probably be in conjunction with some job I took.
Right. So if you missed the last episode, we never go on vacation, which was the last episode.
Yes.
And where there's always some work, but work to us is adventurous.
It is.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't really want to go on a safari. No,
okay.
Thank you. I'm an indoor girl.
We're the indoorsy types, both of us, I suppose.
So that's why it's confusing to me that you want to do the pith helmet and just kind of.
I never mentioned that.
You didn't.
No.
You have a pith helmet. You told me.
I do not have one.
Oh, I thought you said you did.
No.
Oh, I misunderstood.
Doesn't mean I can't obtain one.
Please don't. You don't need one.
We'll see.
I love having indoor plants and things like that. But I'm just not an outdoor girl. I'm not the adventurous type in that way. Like, I don't seek out ways to get hurt or push my body past the limits that I normally do. That's what adventure was to me for a long time. And the other day I was doing an image search, looking for images to put in my ebook that I was writing, and I typed in adventure, and every single one of them is someone on a hike, rock climbing, or like doing some sort of like outdoor activity. I don't think it needs to be
that's
outdoors.
Kind of a common perception, right. Or it's commonly what one's mind conjures up when you hear the word adventure.
Yeah.
Not us. I mean, we see it a little differently.
Yeah. All right. You didn't notice I'm wearing my adventure necklace.
I did notice.
You did notice.
Yes.
You just didn't say so.
I didn't say so, but I appreciate that you wore your adventure necklace.
So, another juicy bit. Well, I'm just going to put in a bonus juicy bit here.
Ooh, bonus
Yeah,
juicy
yeah.
bit. All right.
When Felix and I first were dating and we went on our first road trip together, that was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
That was our first big adventure together. And we talk about that in Road Trips and Relationships episode, which is, I believe, episode 16.
Yes.
And this dude, I don't know if you owned the shirt already or if you bought a shirt for it. I think you bought the shirt for it. Isn't that the first time
For
you
that trip?
bought a white linen button-down shirt?
I think it may have been. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he bought a shirt for the adventure. And I was like, I don't do button-down shirts. I don't do that. So I decided to make a necklace. And you got me these little binoculars.
I
Charlie,
did.
because I didn't have an adventure shirt. And so that was kind of the beginning of our adventures. Like,
Yes.
we don't have to wear these things, but we would come together wearing the things without telling each other, and we would like have a little inside joke giggle because we're on an adventure. But as we have established already, we're always having adventures.
Perpetual.
Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
anything else we need to talk about with what does it mean to adventure?
No, I think as long as, of course, you understand that it's really a matter of perception and mindset, but we actually live it. You know, I know that a lot of people dole out advice like this and may not actually live the way that they preach, but it really is our life.
Yeah, like it really is. We have 2 episodes that we have shot and filmed about adventures in suburbia. And I don't know if we can release those to the public ever. We've considered...
We're kind of opinionated for one.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. But they were adventures. They were really important adventures.
Sure.
And, and so now that we have the podcast, we have an avenue to capture the story. It's like a visual scrapbook or a video scrapbook, maybe?
It is
bit,
it's a kind of scrapbook.
Maybe, yeah.
I see it that way.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So yeah, it's a mindset shift.
It is. So we are wishing you happy adventures.
Yes.
And we want to hear about them.
Please. Tell us about things that have happened to you recently, maybe the last week or so, that you perceived as like a problem or a challenge or something that was uncomfortable or new. And in hindsight, if you now look at it as that was an adventure and maybe it wouldn't have been as difficult had you had that kind of mindset shift before. I don't know.
Sure.
Is that's a good invitation, right?
Yeah, you can send that to hello@onebigcaper.com or just type underneath the video here if you like. And we really delight in reading all of those things and in interacting with you. So thank you very much for watching. We will be back in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Thank you.
We can't keep doing this without you. Give us just a little bit of your time by subscribing, sharing, rating, or talking about One Big Caper with someone else. We truly appreciate your support.
We want to hear your stories. Visit onebigcaper.com to get to know us even more.
This episode of One Big Caper was published in 2022. All rights to broadcast in whole or in part are the property of Gazellus Productions, LLC.